If you want to calm your anxiety down, then the last thing that you should do is try to catch thoughts and replace them. Like, no, literally, that's the last thing. If you're in a state of anxiety, then you're in the sympathetic nervous system. And if you're in the sympathetic nervous system, then your prefrontal cortex is not online. You flipped your lid. That part of your brain has gone dormant. Your prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that you reason, rationalize, and problem solve with. And if you don't have that, then you're not going to do a very good job at trying to address your anxiety through a cognitive approach. You're not going to be able to recognize cognitive distortions. You're not going to be able to catch thoughts and replace them. First, you have to calm your body down. You have to calm your nervous system down. You have to go from sympathetic to parasympathetic. You have to put the brakes on, reintegrate the prefrontal cortex. It's top-down, descending, inhibitory circuitry. That sympathetic response when you're in a state of anxiety, sometimes it turns on its own. It's habitual, just out of habit. Just because you've been in that state for so long, it'll just flip on like a faulty smoke detector. And it can run like an automatic program in the background, in the shadows, in the unconscious. And you can't change anything in the unconscious. You have to take it out of the shadows and bring it into the light. You have to be conscious of it. And the only way to be conscious of it is to practice awareness. Step number one to addressing your anxiety is awareness. And this is not a step that you should gloss over. This is a very important step. Awareness in and of itself can calm your symptoms down. They say if you can name it, then you could tame it. And you can't name it unless you're aware of it. You have to be aware that you're in that state. But then you have to take it a step further and you have to ask yourself, like, how do I know? How do I know specifically that I'm in a state of anxiety? Like, what sensations in my body? What am I feeling? What symptoms exactly are telling me that I'm in that state? Like, do I notice tightness in my chest, increased heart rate and respiration? Is my stomach starting to turn? Am I clenching my teeth or my fists? Then you want to observe those symptoms and those sensations. You want to sit with them in non-judgmental awareness. Then you want to take your attention and your awareness and you want to transfer it over to your breathing. You want to focus on your in-breath and your out-breath over and over and over. Focusing on your breathing is the only autonomic response that we have control over. It's the fastest way to go from sympathetic to parasympathetic, to reintegrate your prefrontal cortex, calm your body down, to ground yourself. Then, once you're grounded, once you're stable, once your body's calm, then you can go back upstairs and start to check in with those thoughts that may be contributing to your state of anxiety. First, ask yourself, like, am I in a safe environment? If the answer is no, then you got to move or put up boundaries. If the answer is yes, that you are safe, then knowing that in and of itself can calm your anxiety down. Next, ask yourself if your anxiety is trying to focus your attention on something that you need to address. I had this one teenage client and she said, I'm feeling very anxious. I'm in a state of anxiety. And I said, what do you think's causing that? She said, my grades. And I was like, what do you think you need to do in order to calm your anxiety down? She said, my homework. I need to study for my finals. I need to write that paper. Sometimes our anxiety is trying to focus us on something that we have to address. If that is the case, then prioritize. Ask yourself, what's the most important thing I need to do first? Then only focus on that. Then you want to break those things down into smaller steps. Only looking on that first minute step that you need to take. That's it. Now it's no longer overwhelming. Now it's very manageable. Keeping things manageable, keeping it simple. Calm your anxiety down. Not looking at the whole day, not looking at the whole week, the whole month, the whole project. Only looking at that one thing that I have to do. That's it. After that, you want to check in regarding cognitive distortions. Ask yourself, like, am I catastrophizing? Am I starting to select or create the future worst case scenario? And then ruminating on that, telling myself that over and over and over and over again, which is causing me anxiety. Am I fortune telling? Am I looking into my crystal ball, thinking that I know what the future holds? Do I have polarized thinking? Is it all or nothing thinking? Is there faulty or illogical thoughts that I'm having, that I'm creating, that are contributing to my anxiety? Is there any evidence to support these thoughts? If the answer is no, now I want to start catching thoughts and replacing them with thoughts that have more evidence, thoughts that are more logical, more factual, more supporting, more uplifting. And then I want to start to adopt a different perspective. I want to tell myself I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Things are going to unfold one of two ways. They're either going to benefit me, which is good, or they're going to teach me something, which will strengthen me, which is good. So either it's going to play out good, or it's going to teach me something which is going to strengthen me, which is good. So either way, it's all good. And if it's all good, then there's no reason for me to worry. There's no reason for me to stress. There's no reason for me to be anxious. Faith kills fear. And I have faith in that perspective that no matter how things go down, Either way, when the dust settles, it'll be all good. So step number one, calm your body down, calm your nervous system down, bring awareness to the sensations that you're having in your body. If you can name it, then you could tame it. Then you're gonna focus on your breathing, your in-breath and your out-breath, reintegrating your prefrontal cortex, top-down descending inhibitory circuitry. Then, and only then, you're gonna go back upstairs and start to work with those thoughts. Ask yourself if you're safe. If the answer is no, then you're gonna move or put up boundaries. If the answer is yes, that'll calm you down in and of itself. Ask yourself if your anxiety is focusing your attention on something that you have to do. If the answer is yes, then you wanna prioritize, and then you wanna break it down into smaller and smaller and smaller steps. Then we're gonna catch thoughts and replace thoughts, recognize cognitive distortions, and then we're gonna change our perspective. Tell ourselves, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Things are gonna unfold in one of two ways. They're either gonna benefit me, which is good, or they're gonna teach me something, which is good. So either way, it's gonna be all good. And this is a recipe that you can adopt. You can own this, you can master this. Very effective at alleviating your anxiety. Timber approves this message.